Allahu, 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 Allah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulihil Kareem amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum Imam Sahab wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Question: is shrimp considered as makruh? Are there seafoods that are not permissible? So asking about shrimps, can we eat shrimps? According to the three great Imams, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahumullah, according to them, any creature in the sea is permissible to eat, except there are some exceptions, like turtle, frog, there are some exceptions in it. But yes, like shrimps, lobster, all this, it is permissible to eat. According to Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, only fish is permissible to eat. Any type of fish, whether it's a whale, whether it's a shark, whether it's a swordfish, whatever it is. If it's a fish, it comes under the category of fish. It is halal, it is permissible. Now about the shrimp or prawns, within the ulama ahnaf, some say it is permissible, some say it is makruh, it is undesirable to eat. Okay, that's it. I'm just gonna leave it to there. I'm not gonna go within the dalail and all that, but this is what it is. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. So there are four questions. So number one, is it considered a wajib act, like compulsory, to listen and be attentive during the Jummah, Eid and Nikah khutbah? This is the first question. The answer is, for Jumu'ah, it is wajib, it is mandatory to be attentive and listening to the khutbah. What is considered the khutbah? We have to understand this. Let's say, for example, the way I do it, I do the English first as a speech, a regular speech. It has nothing to do with the khutbah. 15, 20 minutes, I do the speech. It's just a reminder. After that, there's the adhan, and then there's two arbi khutbah. This is what the khutbah we're talking about. Once the khutbah starts, actually from the adhan, we should remain silent, we should remain quiet and listen to it attentively. Whether we understand it, we do not understand it, we have to listen to it. Why is it wajib? Because it is mentioned in the ahadith, in the sahih ahadith, to listen to it very attentively. If someone is talking to you, even in that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't stop him. Or some other people are talking or doing something, do not say anything, just, yes, after the salah, then you can tell, look, this is not the way.
Listen to it.
Number one. Number two is, even though the Imam is speaking, giving the advice, we should be listening to that. Then why are we here then anyways? When we are coming and taking off from our work or business or whatever, we come here. So we don't come here to talk. When the Imam is speaking, he's talking about Quran, he's talking about the hadith, he's talking about these things. He's not talking about dunya. So we should listen something so we can benefit out of it and then act upon it, practice it. So even at that moment, it is a disrespect for the masjid, it is a disrespect for the Imam when he's talking, right? So we should be listening attentively. But especially in the time when the arbi khutbah is, no salam, no nothing, no phones. What will happen? Because, is it very difficult to stay silent or quiet like 10 minutes? Just listen to carefully what the Imam is saying, number one. So for the Jummah khutbah, it is wajib. But for Eidain, the khutbah of Eid and the khutbah of Nikah, it is sunnah. Right? But still, of course, when the khutbah is going on, so at least, the name of Allah is being there. being recited, the verses of the Quran, the ahadith. So we should just listen it carefully. So 5 minutes, takes 5 minutes, not more than that. Number 2, if a person talks or remains inattentive during the khutbah, would he be sinful? Yes. For the Jummah, yes. Because it is wajib to listen, and what person is not listening, he's talking or he's on the phone or something, he will be sinful, because it is mentioned in a hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, even a person is playing, let's say for example, sitting and then moving his hands with pebbles or something like a thread or something, faqad laga. He did something useless, baseless thing. Right? So these things are very important. So if a person is not attentive and doing something that he's losing focus on the khutbah, he will be sinful. Number 3, does a person need to be seated, or is it okay to stand and listen to the khutbah? So of course, to sit, right? The more closer you are to the Imam, the more reward you get. This is what it is. That is why it is a reward of coming early to the masjid for Jummah, and to be on the first. Of course, the people who are sitting on the first row, they will be rewarded more than those who are sitting on the second and then third and then going on, right? So sitting down. But of course, sometimes there's so many people, there's no space, and to sit down, people are standing. That is also fine. But without any reason, if someone is standing, should sit down and listen to the khutbah. Number 4. For the Jummah khutbah, is a person unable to talk or make salam to anyone up until the khutbah is over, or up until the salah is over? So right, khutbah, and then after the khutbah is the salah, right? So it is about the khutbah. After the khutbah, when people are making the rows and coming forward, someone is saying assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam, that is fine, no problem. But still, because for every time there's, for action, right? At that moment when we are standing up and we are, standing in the rows, making rows, we should be focusing on that. We can talk later, we can say, okay, we can talk later after salah. But to be attentive and not to talk is about the khutbah timings, not about the salah. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Is there any benefit in working at a funeral home or / graveyard? And is it permissible to work at a non-Muslim graveyard? So when we are earning an income, our intention should be halal, right? Whatever work we do, and we try our best to get a halal income, right? And the more niyat and intentions you're going to put into it, the more reward you're going to get it, right? So working in a Muslim funeral home or like a Muslim graveyard, it is halal, permissible, no problem. Because you're doing so many work in it. One is you're preparing the body, the deceased, you're preparing the grave for the Muslim for the akhirah. So this is a reward, right? You have been chosen to do that. So that is one of the rights of the Muslims, right? And not only that, you might get some opportunity to comfort the family members and friends, right? That is one thing is. So of course, definitely, that you're giving the ghusl to the deceased, you're wrapping them up in the kafan, you're preparing the grave, you're comforting the family members, right? So it is a great reward in that, and no, of course, that is totally permissible to work in that, right? Now, about working in a non-Muslim graveyard, it is permissible, but it will be unadvisable. So if someone is working in a specifically non-Muslim graveyard, it's better to find a other job. What's the punishment of haram income? This would be a totally separate khutbah Jummah. Haram income, I cannot say, but khair. In Sahih Bukhari, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إن رجال يتخوضون في مال الله بغير حق فلهم النار يوم القيامة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Indeed, some people acquire into Allah's wealth wrongfully. There are some people, they acquire the wealth of Allah, meaning that is risk. Everything belongs to Allah. But He requires it in a wrong way, meaning an unlawful way, haram way. For them is hellfire in the day of judgment. You're jeopardizing your du'as, you're jeopardizing your ibadat, you're jeopardizing the pleasure of Allah. What else you need? What else you're going to lose? The pleasure of Allah, you're losing it. Forget about everything else. This is what we work hard for, right? Muslims, they live their life to please Allah. But if we are not able to do that, and we are acquiring no matter how many millions of dollars we're acquiring unlawfully, that million of dollars will not go with us in our graves. So this is the punishment. What can be the greatest punishment that you do not have the pleasure of Allah? That's the greatest punishment of all. Forget about Jahannam and fire and all that. When Allah, your creator, is not pleased with you, then what else there is? No barakat in life, no barakah in health, no barakah in wealth, no barakah in your awlad, nothing. You'll always be, there will be misery in life. So we should, as Muslims, consider this always. And let's say, for example, if we have fallen into this, if someone is doing some work or business that is a haram income and realizes it, regrets it, just right away just make an effort to get another job or another work or whatever. But this is what the ulama say. Let's say, for example, if a person is in a haram work, don't resign and you do not have the other, like plan B. Ulama say, try your best to get another job that is halal, then you resign. This is how it works. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Sahib. Wa alaikum assalam. Are there consequences for a husband if he does not give complete mahar to his wife at the time of marriage? Or for his family if they contributed and helped him monetarily in giving the mahar to his wife, but didn't give all of it? So can a woman forgive that remaining amount? So the wife is asking about the mahar. We have to be, when we get married, when we have the intention to get married, we should learn about the basics of what marriage is. Both sides. I'm not talking about only the husband. Both sides, the wife, the man, the woman needs to learn what they're getting into. What is the rights of the husband? What is the rights of the wife? What is my responsibility? For the husband? What is the responsibility of all this? What happens that we dive into this relationship and we have no idea whatsoever? And that is why a lot of divorces happen, and this happen and that happen. So, mahar is a debt on the husband to the wife until he pays it. He gives that debt. Because he makes a promise. One is, mahar is wajib to be given, number one. Number two, you mention it in the certificate of nikah that I am getting married with so and so with this mahar. Now, when should be the mahar given? The mahar should be given, the best thing is to give it right away. Whatever the mutual understanding was, whatever the mahar was fixed, you give it right away. If you say, no, sometimes they happen, you give half right now and half later on, that is totally fine. You say, okay, you know what, later. Because a lot of time they say, Ta'khir or ta'jil. Ta'khir meaning delaying, or ta'jil, I'm going to give the mahar right away. If it's later on, the whole thing, just as soon as possible, you just give it. Because that is a debt. You have to give it. Give it to your wife. Now, let's say for example, if the husband has passed and did not give the mahar will be taken out from his estate and to give it to the wife. And if the mahar is not enough to be given, and that husband did not give in his life, he has to pay on the day of judgment. And it is sad, very sad, that many of the husbands do not give their wife the wajib mahar. And they say, you want a wife? No, it's okay, I forgive. No, that doesn't work. You give it to the hand. Even the wife is saying, no, I forgive, I pardon. No. Here, this is in your hand, you have it, whatever you want to do now. You want to give it back to me now, you can give it back. But give it to the wife. That is what it is. Johnny, that's it for today, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.
Allah